sold everything to travel the world for the next 10 years. No home, no stuff. But we are seeing that travel costs are escalating as a result of inflation across the globe.
So we've needed to return back to the UK for a family issue. That's why we're actually in Sarah's back bedroom here. That's Sarah's wardrobe behind us that's got most of our stuff in it. And while we were here, we thought this would be a great time, because of this inflationary pressure, to look at some of the low-cost, slightly unusual living options that we've got in the UK. Well, what we're doing today is we're comparing each of those, and at the end of the video, we're going to share with you exactly which of these, if any, we're going to do ourselves.
So what we've done, we've broken this down into 7 categories that we think are the most critical that will help us make that decision.
That's right. And if you're not in the UK, don't go, oh, I'm going to switch this off now. It doesn't relate to me. It does. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. What we're talking about in the UK, there are parallels everywhere. And also, for just about everything we're talking about, you don't have to be a UK citizen to actually make use of them.
We separately scored this and then brought those scores together. And the first category is upfront costs.
So this is the cost of the unit, whatever it is itself, together with any associated fees that were involved in that upfront cost. So that would be if you need to get a survey or if there's siting requirements and that kind of stuff.
Delivery.
Yeah, so on this one, I'm going to have to keep looking down because this is where we got our scores down here. We rated it as follows. Now, Narrowboat, we said 5, which is a pretty low score. So what is it about a narrowboat that means that the upfront cost is perceived expensive to us?
Well, there's the survey to be done, and possibly remedial work to be done before ownership, and siting as well.
But then we look at the motorhome, and for motorhome, we said 8 out of 10. Now, motorhomes aren't cheap, Sarah, so why are we saying that the upfront cost of motorhome is 8 out of 10 instead of 5 out of 10, for example?
The upfront costs are just drive away.
Yeah, so you've not got to site it anywhere. When you buy a motorhome, if it's second hand, then you have this thing where you do a habitation check, but that's pretty straightforward and not a big cost. Now, you will have noticed if you've watched our 3 videos, we selected in each of those categories something that was similarly priced. So we're not comparing a £200,000 motorhome with a £10,000 narrowboat. We went in the realm of about 60, 70, 80,000 on all 3 of these to try and provide something of a level playing field. So that's 8 out of 10 for motorhome and 5 out of 10 for a holiday lodge.
Generally, you would buy that from a dealer and then you'd need to get that delivered, sited, maybe decking installed. There's all those.
And we were told at the place that we looked at the lodges that wherever you take it in the UK, they need to get a police escort to actually get the lodge to that site because of little windy roads and stuff like that. And that costs money. So that's the first category down. The second category is ease of purchase. Now, what I mean by ease of purchase is it a long drawn out process, or is it just, pull out your credit card, give it to a bloke and all of a sudden you're walking away with a motorhome under your arm? So let's look at what we scored here for these. And we said for a narrowboat, the ease of purchase was 5 out of 10. It reminded me a lot of buying a house.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you make a provisional offer because you're buying it off of someone else. Now the reason for that is because to buy a brand new narrowboat is extremely expensive and way out of the realm that we looked at. So you make a provisional offer, you put a £1,000 deposit down, and then if they accepted it, then you need to arrange for a survey and then the remedial work. So
it can go on for quite a few weeks.
We were told it's about 8 weeks before you take ownership of a narrowboat. So a score of 5. 8 again here for the motorhome. So why are we saying ease of purchase for a motorhome 8?
Because you, again, go to a dealer, find one you like, and you say, it's sold. It's like buying a car. So as long as you've got your insurance sorted, and if it's second-hand, make sure it's got a current MOT and road tax, off you go. Yeah,
easy as that, really. And then for the holiday lodge, 6. Me and Sarah came up with different scores on this one, to be honest. I scored this one particularly low for the ease of purchase because buying a lodge is easy. The place we went to the other day, straightforward. Buy it there. Here you go, mate. There's a check. Stick a lodge under my arm. Stick it in the boot of the car. We're all good. Problem then is you've got to site it somewhere. And it's not a case of looking on a screen and going, oh, we'll have that one there. What you've got to do is go around all of these places and actually understand the way that each of those sites operate. There is a thing in the UK that people can get, I don't know if scammed is take it a little bit too far, but you see horror stories of people paying a fee every year, then all of a sudden that fee's been escalated 4 times in 1 year. So you want to have a look at each of these parks that you might want to set it on before actually committing to purchase. So that makes it a long drawn out affair, similar to the narrowboat. So next we've got ease of maintenance. Now this is basically when something goes wrong, how easy is it to fix? And we've said 2 out of 10 for the narrowboat. Why, Sarah?
Well, it's sitting in water all year round. And if anything goes wrong, you need an expert. And because it's in water, there's specialist kit. And also anything that would need for the boat to be taken out of the water to have fixing. So there's all of that hassle rather than just get a plumber around to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to take it out of the water if it's anything underneath. And then when it's out of the water, you actually have to pay for wherever it is to sit there. So you might be getting water coming in, I guess, and you're seeing it flooding in. So you then have to go, hang on, we need quickly take this out of the water. And they go, no, we haven't got any space for it for the next 3 weeks. All that kind of stuff just fills me with a little bit of dread, to be honest. Ease of fixing things on a motorhome. Well, we've said there, 6. So why 6?
Well, it would be the right thing to do to have breakdown cover. So if anything goes wrong on the road, generally you're going to have breakdown cover. So a nice man in his van will come out and hopefully fix whatever. But there's numerous dealers wherever you are around the UK, and you can just pull up, and you may have to wait a few weeks to get the part or whatever, but it's certainly easier than I think a boat would be.
And I think from what we've seen watching people on YouTube doing this kind of stuff, it's even easier in Europe because Europe is really set up for motorhomes. And then the last one here is ease of maintenance, 9 out of 10 on the lodge. Now that's because one, it's not moving anywhere. So once you've settled it down, you put it in position, you're going to get fewer problems anyway from the outset because you're not exposing it to being sat in water. You're not exposing it to driving it around and rocking around and maybe someone crashing into it. So that's the first reason. But second of all, if you need something doing, then it's available. You can get to the whole unit to fix it. And often, in many cases, you'll be able to fix it yourself. If you're a DIYer with a house and you fix things around your own house, you could probably fix it in a holiday lodge. But if you're not an expert about how a narrowboat works, it might sink. Next is the residual annual costs that come every year, such as where you're putting it, insurances and things like that. And for a narrowboat, we've said 7 out of 10.
That's quite high.
Why that, Sarah? It's a good score.
Well, the mooring fees that we understand are quite reasonably priced to be moored in a marina for the year round, and you have one annual fee. There's also the licence fee, which is the waterways licence, that was reasonably priced, and your insurance.
And then if we move on to a motorhome, the annual cost there, we've said 6 out of 10. You know, still good, but not quite as good as a narrowboat, because with that, you are having to stay on campsites, and that's going to be different places around the country or around Europe. And as such, that is a greater cost than we saw for a narrowboat. And then when we look at the annual costs for the lodge, 8 out of 10. This lodge seems to be doing well here, Sarah. 8 out of 10 because you've got the site fee and you're not thinking about where are we going to, you know, is it going to be here? Or is it going to be, you put it in one place and it stays there, which is good. You got the insurance, but there's no license fee to be on the waterways because if it's on the waterways, you've got some real big issues you're dealing with, and you haven't got to pay for a breakdown cover or anything like that. So overall, that does work out the cheaper and simpler option from a annual cost basis. We then have value for money. This is obviously a very difficult one because value for money is really, when we heard the cost of it, did we go, that's expensive, or did we go, thought it would be more expensive than that? So value for money, we said that a narrowboat was a 5 out of 10, so just
I think we were a little bit surprised at how much they cost for what we saw, and in the video, the boat we saw was 79,000, 80,000.
Yeah, something like that.
And for me, that did look a lot of money for what that boat was.
Yeah.
There's all the craftsmanship in there, I appreciate that, but
I know.
It was a bit like, that's high.
And this is a touchy-feely thing, you know. You are guaranteed watching this going, I disagree, because it's all about feel. We watched a video of a couple of YouTubers who bought a boat for around, I think it was £8,000, not £78,000, and they kitted it all out, and it looked absolutely lovely, really modern. So
you've got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, we don't. And then if we look at the motorhome, well, that's 6 out of 10 as well because they're expensive. There's no way of getting around that, and certainly
and they've
since
escalated
COVID,
so much.
Since COVID, so we feel that they're at the moment slightly overpriced. So if we were looking to buy a motorhome, we'd probably delay that purchase a little while. And then if we look at the value for money of a lodge, Well, we've gone 7 out of 10. And the reason for that, if you've not seen the video, go back and look at it. But in there, you'll see that it's like a house.
It's a house,
You're getting
got
real...
all the home comforts, dishwasher, washing machine, nice big
proper
cookers,
kitchen, a proper sofa. It feels very homely. So if you're looking for a home type environment, that's probably a really, really good option. So that's why that one's winning on that level. Next is money-wise. In the last video, I said that there is one big issue, and I'm going to speak about that in a moment in this money-wise section. But what money-wise is it something you could rent out? Could it have a significant issue that would mean that there's it's making it an untenable option? So Sarah, talk to us about the Narrowboat. We gave it 5 out of 10 for money-wise.
Well, I think from a springing a leak perspective, it could quite easily get water into the boat. We could maybe rent it, but there's a specialist way of using those boats.
You need specialist knowledge.
So certainly to drive it.
Yeah, so people do rent them, but I think what you're saying is, if it's our boat, we've invested the money in it, we want to make sure that people who are taking it out on the water know what they're doing as well, if not more than we do. What about motorhome?
Well, actually the same applies for a motorhome. If you get water ingress, you are in trouble because the whole thing goes mouldy and not very pleasant. And also they're very fragile, so if you're on the road in the bumpy surfaces and stuff like that, things can come loose. So again, renting out, it would be our home, so we wouldn't want someone else to drive that vehicle because there's so much to learn with owning a motorhome.
That's why we've given it quite a high score there, to be honest.
Depending which park you're actually on.
Yeah, but you can still rent it. So you can earn some money on it. And because it's like a house, people know how to use it, so you're not so scared about people damaging it. But it has got an age, and this is purely because the sites that you're putting these on want the sites to remain attractive. So if you've got an old ratty holiday lodge that's sat there, they want you off that site. So normally when you site something on a particular park, they will give you a license to be there for 10, 15 or 20 years. So coming on to this one big issue, and this one big issue affects each one of these options. That is, these are depreciating assets. Let us know in the comments if you were already there to go, we can't do this, it's depreciating. So when you buy it, that means you're not buying it thinking, oh, I wonder what this will be worth in the future. You're buying it knowing that every day the money's ticking down of the value of this item that you've just purchased. So if you were to do something like this, you need to build it into your financial plan kind of in a loss column, because you need to write it off over a number of years. The last area, and this is the most important category that we came up with, and this is roamability. We are to go roam, which means we are two that go roam. So can we go and roam in any of these? If the answer is no, doesn't really...
What's the point?
Well, yeah, it doesn't really meet our requirements, does it? So first of all, we've got the Narrowboat. We've given that a 6 out of 10. Why 6?
Well, you can roam around the canals and rivers of the UK.
Now, we've given 9 out of 10 for the motorhome because you can roam around the UK, you can take it over to Ireland on the ferry, roam all around northern, southern Ireland, go in a ferry or on a train in the other direction, and you're on mainland Europe, and you can go everywhere from Sweden down to Portugal, across to Italy, into the Balkans. You can even go into Asia, starting in Turkey, and even go around the various stands that used to be part of the Soviet Union. So that gives you a lot.
And beyond.
Yeah, people take them all around the world. So 9 out of 10, it is roamable. And then if we look at the roamability of a lodge, can't really roam far.
No.
So the reason we've given it a score of 4 is because they're normally sited in areas of natural beauty. So it means that you can go there and you can roam locally. You can go out into hills and mountains and paths around where you are. So you can roam on that basis, but you're not going to say, right, let's pick up this unit and move it over there. No, once you've set it somewhere, that's pretty much where it's going to be.
The winner for us is the motorhome, and we told you at the start what we are going to do.
And this is multifaceted, but first of all, we're not going to go for a narrowboat because of all the reasons that we've explained in this video. It all comes down to water, really, and sitting in water in the middle of winter in the UK doesn't sound particularly attractive to us either. Moving on from there, the holiday lodge, although we were both really taken with it, we loved it actually. Just the depreciating element and lack of roamability for it just said to us, not for us now. Maybe in 10 years' time when we're a lot older and greyer than we are now. Exactly. So then the motorhome. We would do the motorhome, but what we won't do is buy a motorhome, and store it for 9-10 months of the year and then come back and drive it around for a couple of months.
Doesn't make sense.
Here's what we're going to do, and here's why. If you haven't subscribed to To Go Roam, you need to do it now. Click that, you know, and all that kind of stuff, because what we are doing is we are roaming the world for 10 years. We're in our second year at the moment, and there will come a time, probably in 2 or 3 years' time, when we really want to get in deep all around Europe and Asia and the stands and doing all that kind of stuff. So at that point, what we'll do is we're going to buy a motorhome. We're going to drive it for a couple of years. We're going to live in it effectively.
Absolutely.
And then at the end of those couple of years, we'll sell it. So coming back to this being depreciating, our hope is that if we were to buy it, for example, for 50,000, we'd sell it for 40,000. So we have a sunk cost. However, traveling around Europe, staying in Airbnbs is expensive. And I think it'd be a really fun thing for us to do, to compare in all the towns and areas that we go to and look at what the Airbnb costs are and just record that as we travel in the motorhome, so that when we finish our motorhome adventure, we can give you a comparison and we can say, if you'd have done Airbnb, it would have cost this. If you'd have done the motorhome, it will cost you this. So you can see whether that's something that would work for you too. We're really excited. Sat in front of us here are our suitcases and bags. We're leaving the UK very soon. In fact, in 2 weeks' time, you're going to see where we're heading to. But gotta tell you, you've got to be here next week, because this is a video I thought we'd never be able to make. We are talking to our niece, Georgia, who's 21 years old, all about investment, with a hope that we can get her to start thinking of investing in her future. Can we do it? There's been so many of you that have said to us, make a video about talking to young people about investment, because it's so important, because we don't know how to do it. In that video, there's there's 2 really good secrets that I'm going to give you for making it work. And one of them you can do, and one of them you might not be able to, but you'll find out next week. But Sarah, there's only one thing left to say.
You've been watching To Go Roam. We'll see you next time.
Bye.